What if I told you that traveling the world as a black person isn't always met with the warmest reception? Unfortunately, cultural differences, systemic racism, or outright xenophobia still exist in many parts of the globe. In this video, we'll uncover the top 10 countries where black people may not feel welcomed in 2024 and 2025. Stick around because while these truths can be uncomfortable, awareness is the first step toward change. Number 10. Russia, where tensions run high. Imagine navigating the snowy streets of Moscow with its iconic architecture, only to feel every eye on you. While Russia's rich cultural and historical heritage makes it an intriguing destination, its struggles with racism are no secret. The country has a growing African diaspora, with students, professionals, and migrants building communities in cities like Moscow and St. Petersburg. However, life for black residents and visitors can be fraught with challenges. Public spaces, including subways and shopping malls, often feel unwelcoming due to stares or even verbal harassment. Hate crimes, though not daily occurrences, remain a significant concern and are often underreported. Public institutions are not immune to these problems. Stories of racial profiling by law enforcement add to the stress of navigating everyday life in Russia. In smaller towns, where exposure to diversity is minimal, ignorance can lead to outright hostility. Despite these challenges, there are pockets of progress. Younger generations exposed to global media and international students are helping to foster a slow but noticeable change. Cultural initiatives and festivals celebrating African cultures are also helping to build bridges, though the road ahead remains long. Number 9. China. Curiosity or discrimination. China is a country of contrasts, and these contrasts extend to its attitudes toward black people. While cities like Guangzhou are home to large African communities, particularly traders and students, the overall experience for black individuals in China can vary widely. On the one hand, there is genuine curiosity, particularly in rural areas where exposure to non-Chinese people is minimal. However, this curiosity often manifests in ways that feel invasive, such as being photographed without consent or subjected to intrusive questions about skin color. Many black individuals have also reported instances of being touched without permission or asked offensive questions, like whether their skin is dirty. Unfortunately, stereotypes perpetuated by local media exacerbate these issues. Black residents and visitors sometimes find themselves the subject of discriminatory housing policies or unfair treatment in professional settings. Despite these obstacles, major cities like Beijing and Shanghai are leading the way toward inclusivity, with younger generations showing a growing appreciation for diversity through exposure to global pop culture and education. Still, black travelers should remain vigilant, particularly in areas where ignorance and prejudice may overshadow hospitality. Number 8. Italy. A tale of two realities. Italy is a nation of dualities. Its rich art, history, and culinary traditions draw millions of visitors annually, but the experience for black individuals can be less than idyllic. The larger cities like Rome, Venice, and Florence are somewhat accustomed to diversity due to tourism, and here, overt racism is less common. However, systemic issues remain, even in these cosmopolitan areas. Black residents and tourists often report racial profiling by police, as well as microaggressions in public spaces. For example, individuals might feel unwelcome in certain high-end shops or restaurants, where they are treated with suspicion. In smaller towns and rural areas, anti-immigration sentiments can make interactions more challenging. Italy has been grappling with an influx of African migrants over the past decade, and economic struggles in some regions have fueled xenophobia. In southern Italy, in particular, tensions can run high, and black individuals may encounter overt hostility. However, it's not all bleak. Grassroots organizations and youth movements in Italy are actively working to combat racism and promote inclusivity. Younger Italians, particularly in university settings, are often more open-minded, making these spaces safer for black visitors and residents alike. Number 7. India. A deeply embedded color bias. India's obsession with fair skin is deeply entrenched in its history and culture, influencing everything from marriage prospects to beauty standards. This preference for lighter skin often translates into prejudice against individuals with darker complexions, including black travelers. In bustling markets or crowded trains, black visitors frequently find themselves the subject of relentless staring. While this curiosity might be harmless for some, it often feels uncomfortable and intrusive. Instances of being overcharged, denied services, or subjected to derogatory comments are also not uncommon. The experiences of black individuals in India can vary significantly based on location. In cosmopolitan hubs like Mumbai or Bangalore, attitudes are generally more progressive, with younger, educated populations showing greater acceptance of diversity. However, rural areas remain more insular, and ignorance often leads to outright prejudice. On a brighter note, the rise of globalized media and increased exposure to international cultures are fostering slow but steady progress. Social campaigns promoting inclusivity are gaining traction, offering hope for a more equitable future. Number 6. Japan, the struggle with outsider status. Japan's reputation for politeness and order often creates an expectation of universal acceptance, but the reality can be more complicated, especially for black individuals. As a historically homogeneous society, Japan has struggled to integrate diverse cultures, and this is reflected in how foreigners are perceived. For black travelers, the challenge often lies in subtle forms of discrimination. It's not uncommon to be refused entry to certain establishments, such as bars or clubs, or to be met with surprise or discomfort in social situations. Passive microaggressions, such as stares or whispered comments, can make even routine activities feel isolating. On the positive side, urban centers like Tokyo and Osaka are embracing diversity more than ever. Younger generations, influenced by global trends and media, are showing a growing appreciation for different cultures, including black culture. International communities and events are also creating opportunities for dialogue and understanding. Despite the challenges, Japan remains a fascinating destination for those willing to navigate its complexities. Number 5. Germany. Progress with lingering shadows. Germany's efforts to confront its past and build a more inclusive society have yielded significant progress, but challenges remain. While cities like Berlin, Hamburg, and Cologne are known for their multicultural vibrancy, smaller towns and rural areas can still feel unwelcoming for black individuals. Racial profiling by police is a recurring issue, as is the presence of far-right groups in certain regions. For black travelers and residents, these factors can create an underlying sense of unease, even in areas that are otherwise welcoming. Despite these challenges, Germany is home to thriving black communities and cultural hubs where black culture is celebrated. Events such as Afro-German festivals and initiatives to promote diversity in schools and workplaces highlight the country's commitment to change. However, the work is far from over, and vigilance remains essential, particularly outside major urban centers. Number 4. Australia. Casual racism in paradise. Australia's breathtaking landscapes and relaxed vibe make it a dream destination for many, but for black individuals, the experience can be marred by casual racism. While overt hostility is less common, offhand remarks, jokes, and microaggressions are frequent complaints. Indigenous Australians and African migrants often bear the brunt of systemic discrimination, and this bias can extend to black tourists. For example, black visitors might find themselves followed in stores, stared at in public spaces, or subjected to invasive questions about their background. That said, cities like Melbourne and Sydney are making strides toward inclusivity. These urban centers are home to diverse populations and progressive movements that champion racial equality. For black travelers, these cities offer a glimpse of Australia's potential for change. Number 3. South Korea. Stereotypes and media influence. South Korea's global cultural dominance, from K-pop to K-dramas, has brought the country into the international spotlight. However, its lack of diversity often creates challenges for black travelers. Stereotypes perpetuated by local media contribute to misconceptions about black people, leading to awkward or uncomfortable interactions. Common assumptions range from associating black individuals with criminality to viewing them as exotic curiosities. These stereotypes, while not always malicious, reflect a lack of understanding about global diversity. In cities like Seoul and Busan, younger generations are breaking down these barriers, embracing diversity through education and cultural exchange. However, progress remains uneven, and black travelers should be prepared for both warm hospitality and moments of discomfort. Number 2. Poland. A rise in nationalism. Poland's rising nationalism has created a challenging environment for outsiders, particularly black individuals. Reports of verbal abuse, stares, and even physical confrontations are not uncommon, especially in rural areas where xenophobia is more pronounced. Major cities like Warsaw and Krakow offer more diverse and inclusive environments, but even here, Black residents and visitors can feel isolated. Acts of kindness from locals who reject these stereotypes can make a significant difference, offering hope amid the challenges. Poland's history and cultural richness make it a fascinating destination. But Black travelers should approach with caution, especially in areas known for nationalist sentiments. Number 1. Libya, a human rights crisis. Libya's ongoing conflict and severe racial discrimination make it the most challenging country for Black individuals. African migrants passing through Libya on their way to Europe often face inhumane treatment, including forced labor, physical abuse, and even slavery. For Black travelers, the risks in Libya are extraordinarily high. The combination of systemic racism, lawlessness, and widespread human rights abuses creates a hostile environment that is neither safe nor welcoming. International organizations are working to address these atrocities, but progress remains limited. For now, Libya stands as a stark reminder of the urgent need to combat racism and inequality globally. While the world has made strides toward inclusivity, these countries remind us of the challenges that remain. If you're planning to visit any of these destinations, stay informed, exercise caution, and seek out communities that celebrate diversity. Have you experienced racism abroad? Where did you feel most and least welcomed? Share your story in the comments and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more eye-opening content. Stay safe and travel smart.